YouTube problems, la 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 la, la 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 la. Oh, YouTube problems, la 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 la, la 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 la. YouTube has got problems, la 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 la. Tra la 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 la, la 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 la. YouTube problems. Hospital porters' pride and dignity stop the New World Order. Welcome to Panwo TV. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little ditty. It's probably a bit early, so it probably won't get to Christmas #1. It will probably get to #1 before that, but go out and buy a single, get it marching up the hit parades, top of the download charts, I'm absolutely sure. Right, now I'm going to give you a little bit of an update on something I was talking about previously, but also go out into a few other areas and some more research that I've been doing. Now, I want to begin with a little history lesson, because many centuries ago, an amazing invention came about. It was invented independently in several different parts of the world. I think China owns the kind of title of getting it first, but it was invented in Europe soon afterwards. It was an invention which changed the world, almost like no other. And I'm talking about the printing press. The printing press allowed literature to be created with a fraction of the effort and cost that was done previously. Books became, less than 1% of the price they were originally, because before the printing press, all books had to be copied by hand, which meant you had a row of scribes sitting there just writing out, going, right, it says that, how we used to have to do that sort of thing at school. Remember how boring it was, and all the mistakes that came with it, stuff like that. The printing press meant that you could just create these little blocks, and you could perhaps boom, 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 book, book, book. Simple as that. It revolutionised the world. But of course, when these things happen, the government takes a look at that and they go, something's wrong here. This is why I've said before, governments assess every new invention, every new discovery for its effect on their power over us. And so it wasn't long before printing presses in all parts of the world were restricted and even banned. I know that, and in nearly all countries, I think, where they were created, there were strict licensing laws on printing, and sometimes the licensing, breach of the licensing laws actually resulted in extremely harsh penalties. For instance, in China, if you were caught with an illicit printing press and you did not have a license, you could actually have your head cut off. Now, the reason was, of course, dissemination of information was very, very concerning to the state and the church and everything. Bibles could actually be printed out with translations in any vernacular you like, and people could actually read these sacred texts that the priests were telling them what they meant, because the priests had them in all these archaic languages like Latin and Greek and Hebrew, and now suddenly they're all there. They're for everyone to see in whatever language you speak. You can have as many of them as you like. You pick them up for a few pence on the dollar, and people could actually read them for themselves and maybe wonder why it's so full of nonsense and why they were paying so much money to the priest or the vicar or the imam, etc. And it seems like we're in a situation where history is repeating itself. And several people have made videos about this. Several of some YouTubers I really like have been affected by this. For instance, Dave Cullen, Computing Forever. He's been affected badly by this. So has Sargon of Akkad and a couple of other people. Now this is basically what's happening is we have the internet. The internet is the 21st century equivalent of the printing press. It is in terms of information distribution, it is the greatest invention since then. In fact, if you just try to imagine living in a world without the internet, I think the internet has come forward in leaps and bounds so quickly that I think there's very few people who are actually young enough not to remember a world without the internet. Because really, literally, even if you go back just a few years, just less than a decade or so, the internet has transformed even since then. So just remember the world before that, what it was like, and how different it is now. And this is the problem. This has been of enormous concern to me, because it's quite likely that I'll also be affected by this at some point. And indeed, I thought I had been. Maybe I have already been. And I thought for a while ago I had been for another reason, but it turns out I wasn't. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But you have the government are desperately trying to get this genie back in the bottle, and they're doing it by saying, they're not saying we're going to bring in censorship, we're not going to license everything like they did in the old days. They can't. They have to be more subtle nowadays, and they have to be more crafty. So they say things like, we need to take action against fake news. We need to change the algorithm so that offensive material doesn't come to the surface, which includes racism, sexism, homophobia, etc. These things don't hate speech doesn't appear in the top of people's search columns and things like that. And demonetization as well. We demonetize videos that we don't appreciate. Now this is Slaxer made a video about this, and I disagreed with him, and I still do. I think if I know YouTube is a private company, but what it's doing is still an attack against free speech. I mean, the good news is, because it's a private company, you can set up other private companies with different policies, and I'll be coming to that in a minute as well. But this is backdoor censorship. It is. I mean, some people like Dave and Sargon, they essentially, the YouTube channel is their living. It is their job. Dave says he works 16-hour days to produce the videos he does. He uploads at least one a day, and they're always very, very sophisticated, very well made, well edited. They're sophisticated film productions using the latest technology. There's people like PewDiePie. Now, PewDiePie is the world's most popular YouTuber. And what happened was, you see, basically the government, who were all like Hillary Clinton supporters, and the media, they basically got hold of people like Disney, and they said, look, PewDiePie here he's making racist jokes. Your product is being advertised on his channel. Don't you think you ought to withdraw your sponsorship from YouTube ads and withdraw your sponsorship of this? Remove your material from YouTube AdSense. This means that PewDiePie no longer has much less of an income. It also means YouTube have much less of an income, and YouTube actually made a big loss, I think, recently. So this is one of the reasons they just jump into line. As it happens, PewDiePie's channel is a comedy channel, and he tells a lot of very avant-garde jokes, shall we say, a bit, right bank, that you couldn't tell on television. But to call someone a racist is, well, you have to. It's a very, very serious matter, and I think I'll say a few words about that too. Because the motivations say we're going to eliminate racism, sexism, homophobia, etc., hate speech, means if you accuse someone of that, it is. You need to know exactly what. You need to be quite clear about what they've said, because you've made a very serious allegation, a smear against someone's character. Okay. This has happened to me. I've been called an anti-Semite. I've been called a racist. I've been called all kinds of things. Okay. Look up the dictionary definition of those words. A hatred of somebody who is a different colour from you, or women, or homosexuals. A hatred of those people. And then look at the actual material you're talking about and see, does that really describe the material you're talking about? Because in 99% of the cases it doesn't. You'll find that someone will be accused of misogyny, for example, and they've just made a video supporting, criticising feminism. And Sargon has been very much accused of this. They're a MGTOW, and I mean, someone asked me a while ago if I'm a MGTOW, and I said I'm not. But they may have a video connected to the MGTOW movement, men going their own way, something like that, and that's called misogyny, hatred of women, which is completely unfair. Same with racism. You may just make a video saying, well, I think white people aren't really being treated fairly in this situation. This is really nasty, the way I'm saying people saying nasty things about white people, etc. And that's not nice. You'll be accused of racism. You see, so this is how they do it. They apply these slur words: racist, sexist, misogynist, homophobe, etc., to various people who are completely innocent of it, but just because they said something else. And again, it almost like these words in today's society are almost like magic words. It's like Harry Potter spell. You wave a magic wand and you can make people do whatever you want. You just threaten them with these slur words, and it's like you're threatening them with having like the alien creature stuck to their face. They're so terrified of that they'll just do what you want. That is another method of covert censorship. What they basically want to do is they just want to silence opinions which don't fit in with the mainstream authoritarian narrative. And of course, this is where I come in, because I'm a conspiracy theorist, and there is an overlap between, say, the alt-right and the conspiracy sphere, and the what's called anti-Semitism. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and say there are no people within say the 9/11 Truth movement or within the conspiratorial movement who don't hate Jews. I'm not going to say that's the case, because I know it is not true. There are people who within the conspiracy sphere who do hate Jews, because that is what anti-Semitism means. That is the pure definition of it. Anything other than a hatred of Jews is not anti-Semitism. Criticism of Israel is not anti-Semitism. Okay? Concern about the way Zionists seem to be very, very powerful within the US government is not anti-Semitism. So anti-Semitism is like racism, sexism, misogyny, homophobia. It's one of those slur words. Now, that's another form of covert censorship. If you're a conspiracy theorist, they can say, well, you're an anti-Semite. You think the world is ruled by Jews. You could be like David Icke and say, no, I think they're ruled by lizards from another world. And you say, yeah, but you say lizards from another world, you mean Jews. You see? But I don't mean Jews. But you're only saying you don't mean Jews because you think they're Jews. So you can't win. Again, you can censor people with that. And the copyright issue, I'll come on to the copyright issue in a minute. But, I mean, generally, I remember the days of early YouTube. I started YouTube in 2008. And it was very different back then to what it is now. I mean, and there's several reasons why it's changed. Which, I think I made a mistake beforehand, but it's definitely, I do think it's less user friendly than it used to be. And it's partly to do with copyright issues, it's other little things, like you can't record off the webcam anymore. It's because you used to just do live web. You could just do simple webcam recordings rather than uploading. Now you can't do that anymore. The difficulty of getting live streams going. I mean, some people do it and they tell me how they do it, and I try to do it and I can't do it. I've had a go at doing the live stream thing, and I just can't get it to work. I mean, I'm in contact with Deborah Hatswell, the Bigfoot researcher, and she did a live stream the other night, which is really good, and she was doing it straight off, and I'm just going to ask her for help. So hopefully she will help me with that. It's little things like that. And I was complaining about copyright. I was complaining about how the copyright issue is being the copyright. I was saying that I described YouTube as being very anal about copyright, and they are. And there's a reason why they are, which I've found out recently. But if I know that there was a time, like in 2008, for instance, you could include little snatches of music and things like that, and you could do that, and you wouldn't get a strike. Now, if it's not recording of you singing in the bath, you have that cloud hanging over you, that worry that maybe you'll get some kind of penalty from YouTube. Everything from just a third-party strike, which just doesn't matter. Just a few acts. You just get, all happens is the copyright owner monetizes your video. That's all that happens. But you can get a takedown. You can get a takedown notice, which will involve in a strike on your channel, which can end up with you losing your channel. Now, James Cox, he put a little comment in my copyright trouble video, my more copyright trouble video, saying that he had done an interview with someone called Stephen Kinsella. Now, Stephen Kinsella is a lawyer. He's I think he's a patent attorney, which is I think a copyright solicitor type person. And James and he had a brief conversation. It's only 20 minutes long, and you can get it on his channel, James Voluntarius Cox. And he talked about fair use. Now, according to James, there's no such thing as fair use because, he said at the beginning, I'm not sure exactly what the point he was making, but he said that that the copyright owner would be like, if there's a big movie company, they've got the solicitors, they'll take you to court, etc. Now, Mr. Kinsella went on to talk about the issue of copyright, and both James and he believe that there should be a reform of copyright law, and at the end they even talk about abolishing it altogether. Now, I'll come on to that in a minute, but they talk about the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which is where copyright law is extended to the internet. And his explanation actually was very enlightening, because it revealed exactly what happened to me with my Viceroy video. Okay, now I did wonder what was going on. I thought I was very righteously indignated, of course, when that was happening. But the reason that happened was very simple. It's a bot. I mean, YouTube actually provides copyright owners with various search functions. There's various search bots you can get if you're a copyright owner, which you could basically scan YouTube, and it'll automatically pick up. There's no person involved in this. It's a completely autonomous system which will automatically pick up any video which has any of your material on which you own, which is not your video, and it will immediately alert YouTube automatically. And YouTube has an automatic system for receiving and processing those complaints. And YouTube always, and I mean always, sustains those complaints. And the reason it does that is because of the DMCA, because of internet liability, because the liability YouTube faces. What happens is YouTube hosts these videos, and essentially it has a piece of legal insurance to cover itself, which basically says they will host videos, but they have what they call a safe harbor, which means that the host itself is exempt from a certain amount of liability if copyright issues, if there is a copyright breaches on its uploads. Because I mean, there's so much uploads. I think it's 2,000 hours gets uploaded to YouTube every minute or something ridiculous like that. There's literally billions of videos. You could watch them all, and you wouldn't live long enough to watch them all. And this has to be automatic because there's so much. It's too much for people. You'd have to employ 1 billion people to actually do this manually. But the downside is YouTube has to automatically sustain all complaints. It has to automatically process all complaints in the favour of the alleged copyright owner, and then the burden of proof is on the disputant to prove themselves innocent. In that case, it was me. Now, this means that basically wrongful copyright claims are just ridiculously easy, and hence the phenomenon of the copyright attack, which I talked about in the More Copyright Trouble video, the previous video. Now, so this is why the host YouTube errs on the side of caution all the time, because if it didn't, it would lose its safe harbour exemption. Now, Mr. Kinsella suggests several solutions to this, and one is to get out this mess, because it is a mess. As I've said, I explained in the video, it works against the ordinary YouTube user. The ordinary YouTube user is in a very, very difficult situation legally, because you essentially have you're uploading your videos naked before all creation. And you know for a while the host will never ever back you up. All the host can do is, if you put in a challenge, the host will then restore your video or restore your channel, but then put you in a position where you can be sued by the copyright owner. But it will not, repeat, not ever assist you in any way. And Mr. Kinsella was talking about this, and they were saying it with James, and said that there were several solutions, and one of those is abolish copyright. Now, this is something that, I mean, James was actually saying, well, maybe, they were both sort of saying, well, maybe it's best to abolish the copyright laws altogether. Another is to change the safe harbour rules so that YouTube is more exempt. So in other words, YouTube has a bigger safe harbour. It has an increased exemption from liability. It has a get out clause which is more and more generous towards the host. So basically YouTube then is not put in this position where it has to automatically, attack the content creator. Otherwise it could end up in trouble. Another possibility was the increased fair use maximum. I mean, Kinsella was talking about, he basically made the same points I did about the fair use situation. Now, and she said that maybe if that could be increased, because it's, in a sense, fair use is kind of was kind of brought in order to overcome the hurdles, the hurdles which I talk about in the previous video, relating to simply talking or discussing or doing anything related to the copyrighted material itself. So film reviews, you know, you can't make a film review unless you are allowed to draw on some of the copyrighted material. It's just not possible. You'd be saying, well, I went to see this movie the other day, and it's called well, it's got a kind of name a little bit like this, and it was sort of like that and kind of like this, and I thought it was pretty good. And there was another film I went to see that had a name that rhymed a little bit with, you know, doors or something, and then it was kind of like this and kind of like that, and the character, whose name is sort of, well, I can't tell you what the name of the character is, said this, and another one said that, and I thought that wasn't such a good movie. It would make, just imagine film reviews like that. Come to think of it, I'd love to see the critics pissed off. Yeah, have some of that, critics. It may be worth it just because those bloody critics would be out of a job, wouldn't they? Yeah. No, I'm only joking. And then reduce copyright or abolish copyright. Now, I'm sure I think there's probably some more videos on James's channel which talk about this. But is James? I'd also ask James, do you mean abolish all intellectual property rights? Is that what you mean? Because that doesn't seem fair. If you abolishing intellectual property rights means it's essentially intellectual property is like any other property, and if there are no laws or rules to protect it, then essentially theft becomes legal. Now, theft is a part of laws against theft are a part of natural law. They exist in every society on Earth. Even the simplest prehistoric societies had laws against stealing someone else's property. Just the same way that there's natural laws against harming another person, killing, murder. Murder is a crime in every society on Earth. Harming another person without exemptions of self-defence, that also is a crime in every society on Earth. Except, well, there's a lot of exemptions for that. For instance, the church allowed you to do things like torture people who didn't believe and stuff like that. But that's a big subject. But basically, every healthy society on Earth has to have a law which protects the person and protects the property. So if you abolish copyright altogether, it means that intellectual property is no longer mine. So when I write my book, my book that I've written, Roswell Rising, a novel of disclosure, available at all good bookshops now. Shameless plug. If in a world without intellectual property protection, someone could just they could take that book, they could scan it and just reel out a few copies themselves and start selling it. I could get some big businessman come along and just say, "Oh, I'll have that," and just start printing out. Even put their name on the cover instead of mine, and pretend they wrote it. Is that what you mean? I mean, this is just a short video. Maybe in other videos you clarify your position. So there's several different steps I could take to sorry, just making a quick note. There's several different steps I could take right now to protect my channel in YouTube. For instance, if YouTube censorship becomes worse and worse and worse, and someone truly does denounce me as an anti-Semite, an evil anti-Semite, a Jew hater who wants to bring back Auschwitz and things like that, okay? Because this is how Twist and Swale and other people are trying to portray me. And this has happened to me. It's happened to David Icke. And this, unfortunately, see, that if we're in a world where the social justice warriors are getting more and more powerful, then we could be in a situation where they could actually do that. You could just have someone to say, well, Ben Emlyn-Jones is an anti-Semite because he talks about conspiracy theories. Therefore, YouTube will say, right, take that man's channel down. He's guilty of a hate crime or incitement to hate crimes. Things like that. I've been considering this. I mean, someone once told me, and I don't know if this is true, if you monetize your channel, YouTube will take better care of it. Because they also get a cut out of your monetization. Now, this is something I've always resisted. Some people have suggested I should monetize my videos. And I've always been against it, simply because, firstly, would it be really worth it? Because I calculated that I would probably earn on average about £5 a week. That's all I would get from it at the most. And another thing against it is that ads on videos I find annoying, especially the ones that come up at the beginning and have no skip button. Those are very annoying. And there's many times when I've been about to watch a video and I see an ad, I think, oh god, and I close the video. I don't bother. I'm not even going to bother watching it. The appearance of an ad before the video can be a decider on whether I go ahead and watch that video or not. And you know, little pop-up ads in the bottom. Those are also annoying, because I'm like, I get my mouse and I just hover there because I see the little yellow dot on the progress bar, and so I say, "Rock, ad coming now." Get my mouse, hover, click, get rid of it as soon as it appears. I mean, that's again, and those are on some of my videos, but simply because of the third-party copyright issues I've had. But I don't know if that's true actually. If I monetize my videos, will YouTube then be less inclined to go for me or something? I don't know. But like I said, I don't like monetization. I wouldn't make much money off it, and I think it would be a detriment to people's enjoyment of my videos. But I mean, again, I sometimes wonder if I'm getting paranoid, because what I said in the last video was that I felt that maybe YouTube will play silly buggers with me, and it's probably not. It probably was just a simple technical error. And the reason is, do you remember during my comments reply video, I was explaining to you how I'd stopped getting email notifications of comments, and so I went through my old emails, and I found out that the comments actually stopped at midnight on Thursday the 23rd. And after that, I got no more email comments until after I'd done my comments reply video. I put in a complaint. I went to the help desk at YouTube and I put in a complaint just saying these ads are I'm not getting email notifications. And anyway, within a day, my email notifications were back. So now I have my email notifications returned to YouTube. And so what I'll do is, I might actually stick with the format I've got now with. I might actually stick with the format I had for my comments replies video which I did last week, because it seemed to take less time, so it was a bit more convenient, and it seemed maybe it was a better way of doing it. I don't know. I'll think about that, whether to go with the email notifications only. But anyway, it's good to get the email notifications anyway, because the problem was that if I don't get those email notifications, if people comment on an old video, one which happened before the last comments video, then I do not see the comment. So the comments notes were put back. Basically, they were back. So that's sorted. I now am getting comments notices again anyway. Now, and a lot of YouTubers, including Dave Cullen and Sargon of Akkad and many others, have come to a position where, because of the problems they have with covert censorship, in particular on YouTube and other social media, they have decided to move some of their eggs to other baskets. And so have I. What I've done is I've set up accounts on alternate platforms. Now, some of these I set up a while ago. One of them I actually set up in 2015 because I wanted to upload my Colonel Holt video, which had been subject to that ridiculous copyright strike. So I did that. But I've got some more on other channels. So basically, I'm now created a few alternate platforms. I'll probably create some more on other sites as well. Maybe there's a few more sites I can think of, which are video sharing sites or other forms of social media. So I'll just tell you a little bit about them now. Now, the first of these alternate platforms is vid.me, and this is me here on VidMe, or VidMe, or vid.me. Ben the JR Porter, the same name as well, an ex-hospital porter, a conspiracy theorist, a free speech Nazi, and a disbeliever in all mainstream media lies. And now this is, I think, going to be my primary alternate platform because it seems to be the most popular, and also it seems to be the one that most YouTube dissidents are going to. It's almost become a kind of meeting place, a kind of like assembly zone outside the burning building, where everyone is going who's sort of like being has felt shunned, or has either been banned from YouTube or feels shunned by YouTube's censorship policy, its covert censorship policy. This actual video hosting site, the sharing site, was actually established specifically to counter what's happening on YouTube. It was actually set up by a group, I think a group of people who were concerned about the position of YouTube. And there's lots and lots of videos on here and people saying, I've left YouTube, I'm against YouTube, and there's lots of people moaning about YouTube basically generally. Most of the moaning is perfectly justified, I think. But this anyway is this is basically it. This is my VidMe account. Now it's important to go here. Now one of the reasons to go here is because some of the material I have on here, some of the videos I've made, I do not upload to YouTube. So there's some things here that are completely unique to VidMe. The reason is, if I put them on YouTube, it'll generate too much work in terms of comments, replies, and things like that. So I put them on here instead. So if you want to go to here, you'll see a lot of videos that I've made. There's a number of videos I've made now. I'm making some more coming up. Just short videos, but they're not available on my Ben the J.R. Porter YouTube channel. Now, my channel's not very... I mean, on VidMe, you have to get your channel verified, then you can upload longer videos. But my channel's not verified yet, so I'm limited to 30-minute videos. But that's I found that's not a problem. That's not a problem obviously if I want to mirror a lot of my YouTube videos on VidMe, it's difficult, and I've actually mirrored a few of them, and it's been a bit of an editing nightmare having to chop them up and things like that. But it's a good channel. It's a nice, healthy kind of sense of subversion on there. A lot of people who are anti-censorship. They're very pro-free speech. A lot of libertarians, a lot of people like that who just fed up with being told that they can't say a certain thing, and they can't say this, and they can't say that. So please do go there and check me out. Now the next of my alternate platforms is Dailymotion. Now Dailymotion was the video channel I set this up in 2015 after my Colonel Holt Returns to Rendlesham video was attacked. It underwent a massive copyright attack, which involved my YouTube channel getting a copyright strike, which I hadn't then had to counter. And it was a very stressful time for me. I made some videos there explaining specifically what happened to me and how it was unfair. And luckily, as always, I put myself in a position where I challenged the claimant against me, to sue me, and my channel was restored to normal. The problem was that this person then had the opportunity to sue me, and they didn't. And I believe they didn't because basically they knew they didn't have a leg to stand on. It's the usual copyright attack. They're using copyright law. As James was saying with Mr. Kinsella, it makes it just too easy to carry out these things against people, which actually are an abuse of copyright law altogether. Now, this is my Vimeo channel. Now, Vimeo I set up a little while ago, I think a couple of years ago, just as I can't remember why I set up my Vimeo channel. I find that Vimeo is not very user-friendly either, in the sense that it has very, very strict limitations on material you can upload. There's all kinds of rules, no video game screenshots and things like that. Not that I don't upload game screenshots anyway, but it's the kind of thing that Slaxer couldn't use, because Slaxer does like his video. He does often put his gaming recordings on there too. So that's my Vimeo channel. So I think I've got 2 videos on there. Only 2 videos. But I'm hopefully going to put more on there soon. I can only put videos on there which comply with the regulations there. Okay. Now Minds.com is actually not a video sharing site, but you can upload videos to it. But it's more like a kind of alternative Facebook. It's like Facebook without all the bitchy people having a go at you all the time. And of course, thanks to Mark Zuckerberg, or Mark Bilderberg as I call him, and all of his attempts to attack fake news and hate speech on Facebook. We're changing our algorithms so that people hate speech and fake news is harder to find, which basically means things he doesn't agree with. But that's this is my Ben the JL Porter channel on VidMe, on Minds.com, which is I find very good. Again, I follow people like Sargon of Akkad and Dave Cullen and other people on there who've also moved over to Minds.com. This I should point out that I'm not going to stop using YouTube, and Dave and Sargon don't still use YouTube as well. It's just this is kind of like this is like an alternative place we can go. This is like the plan B in case something happens which we can't use YouTube. If it gets just so bad that we cannot use YouTube, then it's important that we have somewhere else we can go, a plan B, so we can just carry on operating. If we don't want to wait until YouTube completely shuts us down and then have to flail around looking for somewhere else to go, it's good to get somewhere else to go sorted now, get a presence on there, get known, get subscribers now before that time comes. And finally, I'm also on Gab.ai. Now this is kind of an alternative Twitter, in the same way that Minds is an alternative Facebook. It's very like Twitter. In fact, all these various alternative sites are actually very, very cheap and simple to make. They're open source software, things like that. So all of them are free to join. VidMe, Minds, and Gab. They're all free to join. Dailymotion and Vimeo have the free option, but also they have a paid option, which you can do more with the channel. But they're also free to join. But this is my account on Gab.ai, and so you can follow me on there, which is equivalent. It's equivalent to follow me on Twitter. I'm called @Porterhood, just as I am on Twitter, and I put up a lot of things on here. I do try to put them on Twitter as well, but Twitter is getting like YouTube in the sense it's censoring so-called hate speech, anti-Semitism, which is this is probably what's going to be my trip up, is the anti-Semitism. At some point I'm going to be accused of anti-Semitism, and I'm going to be shut down for that, even though it's ridiculous to call me an anti-Semite, but it doesn't matter if it's ridiculous, they just do it anyway. That's the world we're living in now. So that's my Gab.ai account. Now, all the links to all these pages are in the description box. If you want to follow me on any of these things, simply go to the description box and you can actually just click on all the links, which will take you to these various pages. And I do hope to see you over there, because we can be content creators in other places. We don't have to rely on this one monolith, which is YouTube, and this monolith, which is Facebook, and this other monolith, which is Twitter. As several people have rightly said, these are private companies. They can employ their own policy. Right. Well, if they're private companies and they can employ their own policy, then we, as users, have the freedom of choice not to use them and to go to others who have better policies. So there. Right, so I'm quite hopeful now for the future. I'm not, as I said, I'm not only attached to YouTube now. If ever you don't find me on YouTube, go and look for me in other places, because I will be there. And of course, there is the Herpanwo voice blog. There's Herpanwo radio as well. So I'm all over. I'm a multimedia person. So even if I found slapped with this label of sort of the new Hitler or whatever people want to call me, I do have other places I can go to on Blogger and things like that. So I feel hopeful for the future. So thanks very much. I want to thank James Cox for the information, and for Mr. Kinsella as well for that little interview. James did mention it in a comment, as I said, and I went there and I learned an awful lot. So thank you very much. So that clears up an awful lot of information. And I thought I'd bring this up now because I'm actually going to do another film review in the next few days. I've been informed by the Porter's poet herself, has actually told me about a very interesting film that she's thought I should look at, and I've actually checked it out, and it is showing at the View Oxford. So I'm going to go down there and have a look at it, and as always, take my trusty camera and do one of my little roving reviews of it. But I will not be including the trailer in the film like I have done before. I've learnt my lesson. It's not worth it. It's pointless. Even though I know these, as I said, these are copyright infringements that are actually exempt under fair use. It's the stress of dealing with it and having to getting these bitchy little letters and having to put in counterclaims and things like that. It's not worth it. Why not I'm going to leave the trailer out. There's a link in the description box to the IMDb notice entry for the film. You can go there and you can watch the bloody trailer there. You don't have to watch it in my upload. You can watch the trailer somewhere else. So I look forward to that, and I hope you will too. Thank you for watching Herpanwo TV. Hospital Porters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order and allow me to serenade you out of this little video. Oh YouTube, oh YouTube, please, please, please sort out your problems, because content creators like me are getting pissed off. Oh YouTube, YouTube, please go back to how you used to be. It would be very much appreciated.